you indulge in the idea completion is not possible, or I am not able to complete, I am not able to get rid, Kala Bhairava destroys that boredom, tiredness, uninspiredness inside you. This is the logic of Kala. This is directly the revelation from our beloved Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, on how Mahakala Bhairava removes the part of us that doesn't want to evolve, that doesn't want to get inspired and move to the next levels. So it is up to all of us to make sure that we identify our thought currents, our patterns, the ideas, thought currents inside us, which is not allowing us to explore our complete dimensions. So let's felt you are unlucky and you did the completion. You are still experiencing life the same way, or the same thought currents were repeating, and you gave up on completion. The solution is to have will persistence and look at what you missed in the completion process and realign, but not give up on completion itself. Persist till you are complete. So I request all the viewers to internalize and pen down the 5 patterns or situation in which you felt completion is not possible. I am not able to complete. Let's begin with the step 1 of this exercise. Intensely look inside and pen down every situation, every incident where you felt that completion is not possible. As Swamiji beautifully says, that when we accept the fact completion is not possible, or when we are not inspired by ourselves to do the completion, it is then when Mahakala Bhairava gets involved and destroys that part of us. So let's all look inside and make sure that we do not allow that impossibility and that space, I am not able to complete, where we, because of our patterns, because of laziness, boredom, tiredness, or just the feeling of not being inspired, are not looking in and completing. So let's all internalize deeply and make sure that we are looking inside and write down the patterns in situations will not repeat in your lives again. So let's all internalize and continue to write down the situations, thought currents. It can even be a situation, for example, that you are not able to come on time for yoga in the morning, and you are not able to come on time for the yoga, and when you try to look inside, you feel lazy to look inside or find out the root thought pattern in which you are caught that allows, and when you are too uninspired or negligent to look at that pattern inside of you, that is when the pattern affects you and does not allow you to grow. So look inside and write down those moments when you felt completion is not possible because of your patterns of laziness and tiredness. Let's continue. Nithyanam. So all of us wrote down where we thought that completion is not possible for us, the incidents where we thought completion is not possible. So we enter into the step two of exercise. So in this step two, we are going to look inside and identify the real reason why you did not complete with those patterns. Even though you are, is it because of your laziness or boredom or uninspiredness or arrogance? Look inside yourself and identify the exact reason. For example, if you are not waking up for the yoga, and even though it is not healthy for your body or it is not helping you in your day to day routine, identify completion did not happen and why you felt you cannot complete. Is it the reason could be you did not feel the completion process works for you, or just laziness to sit and go through the whole completion process, or do the completion inside yourself, sit and look inside. And for each of the five incidents that you had written, why you thought completion is not possible, for each one of those five incidents, look inside and the real reason why you did not complete with those patterns. Please continue. Nithyananda. So with that, let's now move on to the next step of the exercise. So all of us should realize that completion is possible. The only decision that you need to take is to internalize and to go on become tired. In this game, the first person who becomes tired loses, whether you're going to become tired or your incompletions are going to become tired. That is the whole game. Only your decision to be in the space of completion can save yourself. With the above powerful cognition, decide ferociously to complete patterns right now. So with that, we'll now be getting ready to receive the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of Bhagavan Bhairava. We'll be moving on to the next session. I request all the viewers to come back and settle down, and let's get ready to move on to the next segment of today's introduction to the Kala Bhairava Bhava Samadhi Darshan. Thank you, Nithyananda.
Through this Jnana Charya, Jnana Kriya, Jnana Yoga, Jnana Jnana is Paramashivam. Lifestyle for just Paramashivam. Rituals to be just Paramashivam. Yoga for just being Paramashiva. Jnana, just Paramashiva. This Paramashivoham is like literally the ultimate journey in a most understand, literally last 39 years from the age of 5, whatever Paramashiva manifested through teaching, speaking, writing, every way, condensing the whole thing and presenting it to you all as experientially in these 21 days through this Jnana Charya, Jnana Kriya, Jnana Yoga, Jnana Jnana Paramashivam. Lifestyle for just Paramashiva. Rituals to be just Paramashiva. Yoga for just being Paramashiva. Jnana, just Paramashiva. This Paramashivoham is like literally the ultimate journey in a most safest way. from the age of 5, whatever Paramashiva manifested through teaching, speaking, writing, every way, condensing the whole thing and presenting it. Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Dvandvatidam Gaganasudisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, we welcome all the viewers and participants all around the world in more than 175 countries to this amazing Bhava Samadhi Darshan of Kala Bhairava, manifesting through the Nijavatara, the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. And before we do the Bhava Samadhi Darshan, we are going to be having a very interesting segment on the various contributions of Kailasa in reviving the festivities and celebrations of life. Sanatana Hindu Dharma, it is not just a religion, it is the lifestyle itself. The lifestyle that constitutes various aspects and celebrations, the knowledge streams through Shastras, Vedas and Agamas, and all the pilgrimage centers. Each and every branch or each and every Shastra gave birth to thousands of religions, because every single Shastra, every single manuscript is a religion by its own. And all of these religions, traditions, culture that comprises under that huge umbrella congregates in one point. And that point is Kumbh Mela. Kumbh Mela is the world's largest spiritual celebration in the world, where literally thousands and thousands of sampradayas, traditions and cultures all congregate at one point. And in this point, it's huge celebration where you can literally see how traditions are unique in its own way, and yet all of them come together to celebrate. All of them can coexist, all of them can appreciate each other, and all of them can still be unique and still be celebrated under Sanatana Hindu Dharma. That is the uniqueness of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and every level, every single dimension of life, the whole thing is all about reiterating the core purpose of life, which is living enlightenment. So the Kumbh Mela is a grand celebration, grand congregation of all these different sampradayas together, where all of these sampradayas come together. Literally imagine 30 million people gathered for a Kumbh Mela event. 30 million people is something like 2.5 times the population of New York City. Yes, 2.5 times the population of New York City, one place. All of these people are unique in their own perspectives. They all come together and celebrate this grand, very huge spiritual breakthrough that they can ever experience in an event called Shahi Snan. And today's segment, we're going to see how the Supreme Point of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, has revived this Kumbh Mela, has in fact taken this Kumbh Mela to the whole globe. So just before we get into the segment, just would like to share a small Puranic reference of how this Kumbh Mela started. So when there was a conflict between the Devas and Asuras on who is going to take the Amrita Kalasha, during that fight, the Amrita Kalasha fell down in 4 places. And all these 4 places is where the Kumbh Mela happens. And additionally, this is one of the oldest festivals in the history of the planet Earth. It has a recorded history of about 12,000 years. 12,000 years unbroken record of Kumbh Mela being celebrated in this world. And more than this, Swamiji has taken this Kumbh Mela to the whole globe. Swamiji is authorized, the only authorized person to celebrate this Kumbh Mela outside of India, outside of all these 4 pilgrim places. And more than a decade, the being celebrated by Kailasa USA and Kailasa Canada, and once it has also happened in Kailasa Melbourne. So today's segment is all about, we will see a lot more exciting things, a lot more celebrative sharings from various people who have been part of this historic Kumbh Melas conducted by Kailasa. So before we get into the sharing, we're just going to just for all of us to understand what it feels to be in Kumbh Mela.
Nithyananda Guru Charana Vandanam Vandanam Guru Vandanam Guru Charana Vandanam Nithyananda Vandanam. Sari gari ga pa ga pa da pa da sari gari re sa da sa pa da sa da ga pa da pa re ga pa ga sankata kavacha madhura anubhavanandam guru smaranam Nithyananda Rupam Nithyananda नित्यानन्द गुरुचरण वन्दनं वन्दनं गुरुवन्दनं गुरुचरण वन्दनं नित्यानन्द गुरुचरण वन्दनम् जन्मसार्थककरं गुरुदर्शनं वन्दनं गुरुवन्दनं गुरुचरणवन्दनं नित्यानन्द गुरुचरणवन्दनम् पद सद सद ग पद पद परि ग प ग प ग सरि ग रि ग प ग पद पद सरि ग रि 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 सद सा पद सद सद ग पद पद परि ग प ग प ग संकट कवच मधुरन्तं गुरुस्मरणम् नित्यानन्दरूपम् 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 नित्यानूपम् नित्यानन्दरूपम् 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 चरण वन्दनं वन्दनं गुरुवन्दनं गुरुचरण वन्दनं नित्यानन्द गुरुचरण वन्दनम्
I welcome you all with my love and respect. Let you all open all your three eyes. Ananda Paramashivam. Om Nithyananda Paramashivam. Nithyananda Paramashivam.
Yes, and that was just a glimpse of what we all experienced as Kumbh Mela. And in this segment, we are having Mahasadashiva, who was the House of Representatives of Kailasa for the whole of Europe. And I think more than a few hundreds of participants had come from different parts of Europe. I think more than 25 countries, they all joined from different parts of Europe and different culture. They've never heard about Kumbh Mela before, but how the entire group was in such ecstasy being part of this Shahi Snan. So it's my pleasure and honor to welcome Ma Atmadaya for this segment, who's going to share with us very, very interesting things about coordinating this effort with people who are completely from different backgrounds, different parts of the country, different parts of the world, and yet ensuring that all of them are together, and how do they all enjoy?
Thank you, and my Nithyanandam pranams to everyone. So thank you, Ma Pranapriya, for having me here. Actually, the video we just watched of the whole procession, this is one of the most colorful part of the whole thing, because of course the beauty is the whole thing revolves around these Shahi Snans, and that particular year there were three special occasions, and one comes to mind very, very clearly because it's like whenever there is any celebration we have in Hinduism, there is a whole drive up to it. So it's not just the day, but it's all the preparation that went on beforehand. And I would say I would go back to the day before. So the Shahi Snan was happening very early in the morning. There was like a specific window in which we were to do the Shahi Snan. So the main thing about Kumbh Mela, for me, what stands out is the actual procession to the river to have the actual dip, which is like, there's like, it's not a huge amount of time to have that dip, but it's like the whole work towards it itself becomes a memorable experience. So I'll go back to, first of all, I had myself not been to Kumbh Mela. Although I'm born in a Hindu family, I heard about Kumbh Mela, but I only heard like some here and there negative things in terms of, oh, that's where kids get lost and that kind of stuff, right? So for me, I never had this pull to go to Kumbh Mela. Because Swamiji is there and the invite was there, it was like, it's a no-brainer, I'm going. And only because of Swamiji, I even got to be there in the first place. And I'm sure that was the case for all the 5,000 people that were there, all the 5,000 participants. But if I go back to sharing about the actual procession itself, so the day before, we had this huge space, the hall that was built for us temporarily. And in that huge hall, which fit easily 5,000 people, we had the day before itself, we had this, I guess, a practice run of the whole thing, where we had the flags, we had the umbrellas, and we knew what segments we were going to be, doing the actual dry run in. So people from all sorts of backgrounds, people who had never possibly even done any practice of Hinduism, they were there. People who have just heard about Swamiji, who decided to come on the invite very spontaneously. All kinds of cultures, languages, experiences, spiritual backgrounds were there. And we had this one practice run. And then the next day we were up very, very early, hardly slept, very early, ready to cheer. And we knew for me,